is a research project studying radicalization and violent extremism in the Middle East, North Africa, and in the Balkan regions. It focuses on young people from 12 to 30 years old in order to understand what drives them to radicalization, so that in a second stage, we can identify what are the best prevention measures. CONNEKT sees young people not as passive subjects that can be potentially radicalized, but it considers young people as main stakeholders in the understanding of the phenomenon and also in the construction of prevention measures. Secondly, CONNEKT considers women as having a real and strong voice in understanding the phenomenon and in preventing it. Women, beyond the role of caretakers, they need to be involved in the understanding of these normally understood as security issues. CONNEKT considers that it is only by community and local actors that prevention can be properly handled. And as a final and very important element, CONNEKT considers that the comparison between different regions will help us draw commonalities, identify common patterns, and even challenge the preconceptions that we have established in the phenomenon of radicalization and violent extremism. And this will provide us with tools in order to understand and prevent it in the MENA, in the Balkans, but also, and more importantly, in the European Union. First of all, CONNEKT has proved how the confusion between the phenomenon and the description of the phenomenon is still prevailing. There is a blurring line, there is a lot of conceptual confusion regarding what is radicalization, how radicalization, violent extremism, or even terrorism are understood and conceptualized, and this has a strong impact on the way we approach research. Secondly, also, we have identified that there is a dire need of primary data. Many of the research and the knowledge we have is based on secondary data. This is why CONNEKT wants to go to the field and obtain primary data from the main sources. Thirdly, CONNEKT has realized how much the agenda and the understanding and the approach of this phenomenon is hyper-securitized. And this still has an impact on how it is seen by the main stakeholders. The research that has been conducted in both regions proves that this domain is still a rather new domain, and there is still a long way to go in terms of understanding, studying, researching, and analyzing how these processes take place in the Middle East and North Africa and in the Balkan region. There is also another issue that CONNEKT has identified, which is the role of external donors. In fact, in both regions, we see that instead of research being produced and being identified according to the needs of local grassroots communities, research has been marked by the needs, the desires, and the opinions and the visions of external donors. And in this way, there is a sort of distortion between what is required on the ground and what is being done at the research level by this somehow distorting role of external actors. Our research until now has proved how there is an overemphasis on religious-driven factors, and there is still a strong neglect of other elements that drive radicalization among young people. All in all, CONNEKT intends to challenge the dominant paradigm on the research that has been carried out until the moment regarding radicalization and violent extremism. It is obvious that COVID has had an impact on the implementation of research on the field, but also COVID has a very important impact in the research, which is, and it is really important, is that it acts not as a driver per se, but it acts as an intensifier of the drivers that have a role in radicalization processes. COVID-19 acts as an intensifier, as a multiplier of the divides, of the fractures, of the gaps between expectations and realities that are affecting daily lives of people. And we need to take this additionally into account when carrying out our research. CONNEKT is very necessary because much has been said about how radicalization happens, but still little is known. And in that sense, we need to understand radicalization as something that has to be understood from a social and community level and not from a security perspective. And then we need to understand, as Connect does, that there is no single factor explaining why radicalization occurs. Instead, it is the combination of several factors that determine why a context becomes somehow a susceptible context to radicalization processes. And in this sense, Connect wants to understand the several combination of drivers in order to be able to design and draw strategies that will be useful to prevent these processes from happening.